Um, Let me begin by thanking the many, many people all across the country who yesterday supported our historic campaign. We were obviously especially gratified to win in Utah, win in Colorado, win in California, the largest state in the country with more delegates. And I am always grateful for the support that I receive here in the state of Vermont. Now, I haven't seen the latest delegate count, but my guess is that after California is thrown into the hopper, it's going to be pretty close. We may be up by a few, Biden may be up by a few, but I think we go forward basically neck and neck. And I very much look forward to be on a plane tomorrow, going out west, and campaigning and doing everything we can to win in Michigan and Washington, Mississippi, North Dakota, Idaho, and Missouri. What this campaign, I think, is increasingly about is which side are you on? Our campaign is unprecedented because there has never been a campaign in recent history that has taken on the entire corporate establishment, and I'm talking about Wall Street, and I'm talking about the insurance companies and the drug companies and the fossil fuel industry. There has been never a campaign in recent history which has taken on the entire political establishment, and that is an establishment which is working frantically to try to defeat us. And there's not been a campaign, I think, that has been having to deal with the kind of venom we're seeing from some in the corporate media. This campaign has been compared to the coronavirus on television. We have been described as the Nazi army marching across France, etc., etc. As we come into the last several months of this campaign, what I hope very much is that what we can focus on is an issue-oriented campaign which deals with the concerns of the American people. As some of you may recall, the last debate that took place really was, I think, insulting to the American people. It was a food fight. It was about who could yell the loudest. That's not what the American people want. They want a serious debate on serious issues. Joe Biden is somebody I have known for many years. I like Joe. I think he's a very decent human being. Joe and I have a very different voting record. Joe and I have a very different vision for the future of this country. And Joe and I are running very different campaigns. And my hope is that in the coming months, we will be able to debate and discuss the very significant differences that we have. Joe is running a campaign which is obviously heavily supported by the corporate establishment. At last count, he has received funding from at least 60 billionaires. 60 billionaires. Our campaign has received more campaign contributions from more Americans, averaging $18.50 than any campaign in the history of our country at this point in time. So what does it mean when you have a campaign which is funded very significantly by the wealthy and the powerful? Does anyone seriously believe that a president backed by the corporate world is going to bring about the changes in this country that working families and the middle class and lower income people desperately need? We are going to the Midwest. I'll be in Michigan shortly. And as I think everybody knows, Michigan, Wisconsin, Indiana, Midwest in general, Minnesota, have been very hard hit by disastrous trade agreements. And Joe is going to have to explain to the people, the union workers in the Midwest, why he supported disastrous trade agreements like NAFTA and PNTR with China, which have cost this country millions of good-paying jobs, and in fact have resulted in a race to the bottom, where people are now earning lower wages. Millions of people today lost good-paying jobs in manufacturing and are now earning substantially less than they used to. Joe is going to have to explain to the American people why he voted for a Wall Street bailout, something that I vigorously opposed. Joe is going to have to explain to the American people who are so tired of endless wars which have cost us too many lives, destabilized many regions around the world, have cost us trillions of dollars, why he was a leader in getting us involved in the war in Iraq. At a time when half of our people are living paycheck to paycheck and struggling to make ends meet, Joe is going to have to explain to the American people why he voted for a disastrous bankruptcy bill, which benefited the credit card companies. Joe is going to have to explain to people all over this country why he was on the floor of the Senate time and time again talking about the need not only to cut Social Security, but Medicare, Medicaid, and veterans programs. How does that happen? Why would a Democrat talk about cutting Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and veterans programs? Joe and I have a very different opinion with regarding healthcare. Joe essentially wants to maintain what I consider to be a dysfunctional and cruel healthcare system in which we are spending twice as much per person on healthcare as are the people of any other country, and yet we have 87 million Americans who are uninsured, underinsured, 30,000 people who are dying, and 500,000 people who go bankrupt every single year because of medically related bills, and on top of that we pay by far, not even close, highest prices in the world for prescription drugs from an industry which is involved in collusion and price fixing. So the American people have got to understand that this is a conflict about ideas, about a record, about a vision for where we go forward. And I like Joe. Joe is a decent guy, and I do not want this campaign to degenerate into a Trump-type effort where we're attacking each other, where it's personal attacks. That is the last thing this country wants. Joe has his ideas, his record, his vision for the future. I have mine, and I look forward to a serious debate on the serious issues facing this country. And I would hope that the media will help us do that, allow that kind of debate to take place. And by the way, I would offer Joe, because I know the issue of healthcare, among many other issues, is such an enormously important issue. I would hope that instead of having a debate where we have to spend 28 seconds trying to respond to a complicated issue, maybe we could spend an hour talking about why the United States is the only major country on earth not to guarantee health care to all people through something like a Medicare for All single-payer program.